All right. So just to kind of open a little bit here regarding the Max trade, kind of given the place we're in and the odds we're facing, it was a strategic decision, and we kind of took this opportunity to kind of serve another goal of the organization, which is to enhance the farm system. So, but I do want to be clear that it's not a rebuild, it's not a fire sale, it's not a liquidation. This is just a repurposing of Steve's investment in the club, and kind of shifting that investment from the team into the organization. So, with that, I'll take some questions.
So with that being said, just how much further are you open to going at this deadline?
We're going to listen, but our price points are high. We have valuations on our existing personnel, and the bar's high to meet it. But we are willing, in certain circumstances, to use Steve's investment and kind of repurpose that investment to serve the larger goal, which is to build a championship organization. And the other day I was talking a little bit about go to build a championship team. At the same time, you're trying to build a championship organization, and you're trying to serve both of those masters. And when circumstances arise, you want to kind of embrace your reality and make the best, be at your best regardless of your circumstances. And so we use this opportunity to bring a player into the organization that we're extremely excited about, that's close to the big leagues, talent that you can't access. And generally with clubs that are going to go through a rebuild, you have to endure 5, 6, 7 years of losing, and we don't have the appetite for that. We're not going to do that. And so what we want to do is we want to use Steve's investment and enhance this farm system and get us to our larger goal.
You, over the last 2 years, have gone about it essentially the same way, where you want to enhance the farm system while investing a lot of money in the major league team to try and serve both goals at the same time.
Yeah.
Last year it worked. This year it obviously didn't. What made you guys make the calculation that, okay, we're going to shift our focus now rather than try a third time to capture what you had a year ago?
Well, where the odds were for this season, but that doesn't mean we're punting 2024. Okay, we're going to have a competitive team, and like I said, we just don't want to endure long stretches of being bad, and that's not going to be satisfying to anybody. And so, Steve's made the investment. He wants an elite farm system. He's articulated that. I know I've kind of regurgitated that goal and shared that goal, and that's what we're after.
Do you think you can trade other big pieces from this roster before the deadline while still being competitive next year?
It's hard to say. Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, we just have to listen and see.
A couple guys last night, Billy, were talking, Pete and Brandon were both talking about some uncertainty about the direction of the franchise. Have you talked to them to alleviate their concerns or anything?
Yeah, I got a chance to talk to Francisco last night. I texted with Nimmo, but one of the unfortunate kind of collateral damage aspects of kind of the trade deadline era is that, and especially in a complicated situation like Max's was, where you have a no trade and you also have a player option to satisfy, and so that slowed the process. We're announcing it at 1:05 on Sunday, so I don't even remember when this started to break. But the unfortunate spot that our players are put in is the organization can't officially speak on this, so I can't provide them the cover, and that doesn't sit well with me, But they become the collateral damage on that, and they have to stand up and they have to answer questions, and that's not a great spot to be in, and I empathize with them, And so I talked to Francisco. I texted with Nimmo once I was kind of done with talking with Texas and with Max's agent, with Scott, and he was already gone because we have a day game today. So we just said, let's connect in the morning. So we spent 35 minutes this morning together, and talked. And these guys all understand. They understand it's not a fire sale and it's not a liquidation, so they got it.
Did they have some of those concerns before you talked to them? Is that kind of what they?
I wouldn't say no. They didn't say those words. I just kind of volunteered them ahead of time.
This
Billy,
is the
what-
first time you've kind of spent money to get the prospect that you wanted. When you're going down that path and opening those conversations, how do you sort of put a dollar value on what that's worth to you and when it stops being worth it?
Generally, there's, the closer the players are to the big leagues, kind of the higher the premium. There's certain information out there in the public space that talks about, valuing prospects and how you value them. And we have some internal models that in our analytics group and our player personnel group kind of collaborate on to build those valuations. And what we just try to do is, have a little bit of a multiplier on, the money that we're sending. And, is that, 2x or 3x, and try to find that price, within the organization that we're having dialogue with. And if it doesn't happen, we just keep the player.
Billy, you mentioned about how Steve wants to reinvest in the organization as opposed to this year's roster now. Wouldn't it make sense based on where you guys are at now, because you don't have these many opportunities if you want to be a competitive team, to take advantage of this and push a little more with that and trying to rebuild?
Yeah, but we don't want to punt,
Right.
so that's,
Trying to walk that line between
yeah,
the two.
we want to have a product that we feel good about and people can feel good about. So that's not, we don't want, like I said, we don't want to endure long stretches of being bad. Okay, we want to invest in the major league team, and when the circumstances are what the circumstances are, we want to be opportunistic. And so that's ultimately what we're after. And in some cases, we want to invest where the greatest returns are. That's kind of been a mission for how we try to think about, allocating, resources.
Billy, why do you think this season ended up the way that it did, and how will what you learned and what you saw inform the type of player, person, whatever that you're looking for here in the future?
I think we've said, gosh, probably starting at, mid-May, we were a little disappointed with where we are, and then said it again in June, said it again in early July, and just couldn't get the consistency kind of clicking with all of the three components, whether that's the lineup, the starting pitching, or the bullpen. And in the bullpen's case, look, we obviously know that took an enormous hit early before we even before the starting bell even rang. But in other areas, we had some situations where the performance just wasn't consistent enough for us to be able to deliver like we delivered in the previous season. And so it put us in these circumstances. And like I said, we just want to make the best of the circumstances that we're in.
Is the expectation that you'll be as active a spender this offseason as you have been the past few?
I don't think we will be walking into 2024 with the same, preseason odds that we did in 2022, 2023. I've talked with a number of you, either on record or just, standing around the field in spring training. One of the things that we like to look at is, take the Vegas look, take what you guys say, take your predictions, and really kind of source that through the public channels to get a sense of like, okay, how good do people think we are? Not how good do we think we are? Let's get an outside view and crowdsource that outside view. And so, that was putting us at, certain win projections. I don't know if we'll walk in with the exact same odds, but like I said, we're gonna take pride in how we go about the game, how we play the game, and the club next year on the field.
The farm system's obviously in a better place than it was a couple of years ago, but to be competitive next year, you probably are going to have to dip into free agency. How reasonable in your eyes is it that you can build a championship team, mainly through free agency here?
I think we've, Steve said it, I've said it, free agency is not the market that we want to rely on to build a championship team. It's the market that we want to use to enhance the team that we have, but we would rather go to that market for opportunities than necessity. And so we're not there yet. That's going to take a little time. And so, we're still going to have to invest through free agency.
I'm sure you heard Max's comments on Friday night. how far down the road were these talks before Friday? Did they hasten at all the last 24 hours? How far down were you? How far down the path were you before Friday night?
You know, there was some conversations going on with a couple different clubs, and you know, I was talking to Max a little bit about it, but not in great detail. I wanted him to go out, and then when I talked to him before, I just said, just go make your start. Make your start. Be you. I can't tell you what's going on, but this could be on the horizon, and then we'll have a conversation the day after. And so we plugged in, you know, with each other yesterday, probably midday, and spent a lot of time together yesterday.
Just to follow up on my previous question, do you still view free agency as an effective bridge strategy, or does this year maybe change your?
I mean, we're gonna have to be in the free agent market this year. Whether we're, you know, I don't like to speak publicly about payroll because there's a kind of a competitive aspect to that. But you know, we're gonna have to go into it. But you know, we also know that it's not the answer to build a championship organization.
Well, you've talked in. Go ahead.
Is Verlander among the guys you're listening?
I'm not going to talk about anybody specifically. So sorry, Dan.
You've publicly stated a lot that you don't want to bring certain guys up until you feel that they're ready to contribute both offensively and defensively at the major league level. Given the way this season has gone, will you shift that, you know, focus at all to bringing up guys that may not fully be ready just to get them the experience up here?
Yeah, I think that's a dangerous equation. You know, if you're pushing guys up here, I mean, there's a lot of attention, and there's gravity to the games, and you know, it's just a different environment and a different element, and so you want them to feel very good about where they are. You know, if it's a position player, offensively, defensively, if it's a pitcher, you know, his ability to you know, locate the ball and execute his pitches. So you want them to feel armed, because you don't want to throw them into a situation that they're not equipped for. Because, you know, I have seen in you know, my time, you know, over 2.5 decades, like, I've seen players go backwards from that, and that's you don't want that. So I'd rather be a little late than too early when it comes to that. But I am encouraged with what I'm looking at in AAA, and as soon as this deadline's over, I'm probably going to be spending a little time in Syracuse and Binghamton.
What do you want to see from this team, this 2023 team, over the next 2 months?
You know, these guys have a lot of pride in what they do, and so I know the will and the pride, and just kind of honoring the job description to be a Major League Baseball player. Like, I'm not worried about that at all with this group. The character's very high in that locker room. But at the same token, what I'm looking for, I'm really excited to continue to watch Brett, Francisco, Mark Vientos, and seeing some of the players that are, you know, signed up here for years to come. You know, continue to grow and continue to be tested in game-like situations, and to see how they handle it. So that's what I'm looking forward to. But you know, at the same token, like, you know, with some of the guys that we're potentially going to call up, I think that'll breathe a little life in as well.
How do you see Acuña's fit long-term defensively?
You know, right now, you know, he's going to come in and play shortstop right away, but there'll probably be some positional versatility. I know he's already played a little second and center field, and so you know, he'll probably get an opportunity to do that, but I'd like to talk to him about that first.
Billy, is Pete one of the guys you talked to since last night?
I haven't had a chance to talk to Pete yet, no.
What excites you about Acuña, aside from, you know, what he can do?
Ultra athleticism, you know, watching some of the video on him and seeing some of our scouting reports, and the plays that he kind of makes in the middle of the diamond, the arm strength, the hit ability. He's working on lifting the ball a little bit more and just being able to get the ball airborne a touch more. Strong plate discipline, strong contact skills. Just really excited to get a prospect of this caliber into our system. You know, you know, kind of follow a little bit online and see where people want to slot them already and all this kind of stuff. But, you know, that's the fun of this, and I'll let you guys all do that.
Bill, you guys
Thank you,
said
Bill.
get gained a lot of momentum in terms of the Mets as a destination. People wanted to play here. Is there any concern in your mind that selling guys like Max Robertson changes that at all?
No, I don't think so. I think, you know, a lot of players are very seasoned. You know, they've seen a lot by the time they reach free agency. They understand, and I think if you have a first-class operation and an organization that's willing to invest in them and invest in the resources and make it best in class, it's a desirable place to be.
Billy said there's no punting in 2024. Would you consider bringing back a Robertson to help in the bullpen, since that's such a premium position?
We'll be open to anything.